other round here. Hey guys, Ricky with Eastern Wild. So today I'm going to sight in all my rifles. Now typically every year I would just go and re-zero everything, but this past year we put all brand new Vortex scopes on our rifles, including my muzzle loader. And I'd already run Vortex on my rifle, but I went ahead and outfitted Baisden's guns with it too. So today we're going to get all those sighted in, and y'all gonna go along on the journey with us and see how I do it. And it's a pretty easy process. Also, Kentucky's youth season opener is this Saturday, and today is Wednesday, October 9th. So we're gonna go get his gun sighted in and ready to go so he can hopefully lay one on the ground this weekend. Y'all stay tuned. So this has grown up a lot more than it was even during turkey season. You can see out through there, but small field has grown up pretty high. We've got our shoot and see targets here, actually called a splatter shot. And Rural King has these ground stakes, and you slip like a little thin sheet of like this PVC type cardboard stuff in it, and it's a perfect target, man. I'll show you down there when we get set up. It's pretty cool. You can see how that works. It's pretty simple. Drive your orange stakes in the ground. Got these little tabs on, there's two on each side that you can put this little piece of plastic to. You can see I just sticker my little target on there and we're good to go. Now we're gonna go back up here to the truck and get this process started. All right guys, just kind of showcase a little bit of what we're shooting today. I've got my rifles and muzzleloader laid up here, and I'm just gonna grab them and just give you a quick brief little talking head about the gun, and then we'll get into shooting these things. So here we go. The first one we're gonna talk about is the CVA. This is the Optima V2 in stainless, and this thing is absolutely great. Here on the butt pad, I've just got my essentials. I've got extra powder, I've got extra projectiles, got my 209 primers in there, and I've even got a ballistic chart here that I laminated. I know muzzleloaders aren't designed to be super accurate like a center fire rifle, but this thing will reach out and touch them with that BDC reticle in here. This is the Vortex Diamondback 3-9x40, and I'm telling you, man, this thing is awesome. You know, it's stainless all over it. It's got the fluted barrel, heavy 50 cal, and it comes with proprietary scope rings right here that you just mount to the top of the gun here. You don't even have to buy rings for it. It comes with it, and you just throw your optic of choice on here and get it zeroed in. And I've killed several deer with this gun, and they don't run. They stop dead in their tracks, man. So this thing is awesome. All right, I'm gonna show you all a couple products that I use. This right here is the finest thing that was ever designed for a muzzleloader. Is it expensive? Yeah, it's really expensive. Probably double, more like triple the price of your standard Pyrodex or your pellets or powder or whatever you buy. But this is Blackhorn 209, and it takes all of the pain out of a muzzleloader. So with what I'm talking about is, before I used to shoot a Thompson Center Black Diamond. It was a gun that my dad bought back in the 90s, early 90s, I believe. And that thing, you'd shoot it once or twice and it was all gummed up, and you'd have to put it in a bathtub with soapy water and wash the thing out. It was a mess. And even breaking it down, you had a little wrench that would take out the breech plug, and that wrench could only move so far because of the scope. It was just a nightmare. I really didn't enjoy it. But in the 2000s, these screw type breech plugs come out and the Optima V2 had it, and I had to have it. But it's just a fine gun, man. And with its BDC, I was shooting 200 yards easily. And I wish I had it on video to show you guys, but it's a tack driver. It'll do its job. This powder right here is the trick, because it makes this thing like shooting a center fire rifle. It's super clean. I've fired 20, 30 shots out of this. It don't gum up your barrel. It still shoots accurate rounds down range. and the cleanup is a breeze. With that black horn, you're supposed to run a Magnum 209 primer, but I've had a lot of trouble finding those. So I'm using just the CCI shot shell primers, which is just a standard primer. And to be honest, I've had a couple hang fires with it, and for the most part, I'd say 90 to 95% of the time, these do work. But there's that risk you're running if you don't have the Magnum primer of getting a hang fire or a misfire in general. So let's get this thing loaded up. We're gonna send a round down range and see what we gotta do. I'm sure there's gonna be some adjustments that has to be made. These scopes are brand new from the factory. Also, get one of these spouts from Thompson Center. It just screws on the top of your bottle here, and it is phenomenal. I've got this set to 90 grains, I believe. Yeah, 90 grains of powder. So we're gonna go ahead and load it up here. I know for a fact that I cleaned this gun last year, but something else that you may want to do, just for safe measure, is to run your ramrod down your gun and make sure that it goes all the way to the bottom. So we're gonna do that real quick. There you go. You can see that ramrod goes all the way to the bottom. There is not a charge in this barrel. So we're good to load it. Now, we're gonna load our bullet. These are Thompson Center XTP, I believe, and they're 240 grain. And these put a hurting on deer. I've killed a lot of deer with these, this muzzle loader. It's so smooth, man. Go and get us a primer out. Now I believe we're ready to start shooting. And we probably need to be just a couple clicks higher, I would say. And this gun should be ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and click it. Let's do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'm gonna do now is load one more charge. This should be the last shot we have to shoot, honestly. Okay, take it back down a touch. That looks good. That looks real good there. Next up, we have my little boy Baisden's deer rifle. This was mine. I bought this gun in 2013 when the TC Ventures had just came out. This is actually the version 1. I think the version 2 has like a muzzle brake up here and a threaded barrel. It just has a threaded barrel, and then you can break it or do anything else you want to it. So this thing, it's called Weather Shield. So it's very similar to stainless, but Thompson Center markets this as tougher than stainless steel. And it looks almost like a gray Cerakote is the best way to describe it. But man, it's got a milky smooth action, like milky smooth. And I've done a couple things to this gun. Don't ever do this. If you do it, it's on you. Just putting that out there. But I went in and done the Thompson Center trigger job where I clipped a couple coils off the spring to lighten that trigger and just did a little bit of work on it to smooth it up a little bit. And now, man, this trigger is phenomenal. But you can tell it's one of the more budget-friendly guns. Like the trigger guard here is plastic. It does have the Hogue overmold here on the forearm and back here on your stock towards the butt. But man, this thing is awesome. One thing you have to be careful with this gun is it's on safe right now. So it can open while you're out hunting. So if you've got a round in the chamber which that's on you if you do that and you're walking around. Safety first. But if you got around in the chamber and you're walking through brush and limbs, that thing's real easy to pop. And I've personally lost a round in the woods like that. And you get to your spot and you're like, man, why is my chamber open? Well, that's why. So this is a great firearm. Absolutely love it. I went to the 308 last year, and I got the Browning X bolt, and I handed this down to my little boy. So Bason's getting old enough to be tagging along with me in the woods. He's done it for a few years now, so I figured this would be a nice gift for him. So there's Bason's gun. This is a Thompson Center Venture in 270 caliber. All right, so now we're shooting my boy's gun. You can see his custom sling here. Me and him got matching slings for Christmas one year. So we're gonna take this off real quick. Just makes it easier for my rifle to seat in the Primo's dead sled we got down here. By the way, this dead sled is the only way to do it. So, all right, so I've got the, I use those peel and stick, the shoot and see targets. I use the little peel and stick black things to cover up the holes down there. So now we got a clean target. Those are super easy to fool with, I love it. But now we're gonna move on to Bason's gun, and we're shooting, again, this is the Thompson Center Venture 270 stainless. It's the version 1, bought it in 2013. And this gun is an absolute tack driver. For it to be considered a budget friendly gun, man, I don't see how they consider it budget friendly other than the price. The price is excellent, but man, this gun is an absolute tack driver. So now we're just gonna make sure that Bason's scope is on, and we're running the same scope on it. It's a Vortex Diamondback 3 to 9x40, and gonna go ahead, we're just gonna shoot singles here, I guess. Gonna load around in the chamber. Oh yeah, this thing looks good, man. Looks real good. So now we're gonna lower it a little bit. So with this gun here, I think it says we need to shoot it around about 0.21 inches low at 50 yards to get a 100-yard zero. So we're gonna go ahead and send some rounds down range and see what we need to do to get this scope up and running, because he's gonna be using this gun Saturday morning for opening youth season here in Kentucky. Now, we're just gonna send it, man. So, yeah. So it looked like it shot just a touch low. It's almost in the bullseye. That's unbelievable that these guns come from the factory like that. So we're just gonna make a quick adjustment. It looks like it needs to go up maybe, let's do 6 clicks. Go and get us another round here. Let's go ahead and take it down 2 clicks. That shot just to the right of the bullseye there. Well, actually, you know what, man? That may be good. Let's shoot a confirmation shot. I think I'm gonna leave that alone right there. And I can't tell where that went. I don't know if it went in the same hole, but we're gonna shoot another one. Yeah, man, we're right there. Man, that's some super tight groups right there. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I'll try to punch in and post. So, I believe I'm done with Basin's gun here. We're going to get out my Browning X-Bolt and send some rounds downrange with it and get it squared away. So, all right. So now we've got my Browning X-Bolt in 308. Now this gun here has the Vortex Viper, and this is the 2.5 to 10 by 44. Last year I had the Vortex Viper 4 to 16 by 44, but I just felt like it's too much for here in Kentucky. I really didn't need that much magnification. The only time I could see using it is if I was in these big open places like on our strip jobs around here, or if I went out west. But for now, I wanted the 2.5 to 10, get that lower mag for when deer are close, especially in these thick hills here we got in Kentucky. And then the 10 is plenty of power. Like I zoom in pretty far with it and it looks great. So that's the reason I'm having to re-zero this gun, because I switched optics last year and went with this one. So in this gun, I'm shooting Hornady American Whitetail. This is in 165 grain. It's the interlock projectile. So this is what I killed my deer last year with, and I'm pretty sure it's just like the Hornady Custom that I used to shoot in my 270. This is just the new rebranded box, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think that's the case. So let's send some round downrange of this and see how it fares. Brand new box, baby. I keep stocked up on my deer rounds anyway, so. Oh yeah, it looks great. Let's see how she does. You always want to relax, give it 2 or 3 really good breaths. Don't touch your firearm much for the most accuracy out of it. Just barely touch the pad of your hand against the stock down here and lightly touch your trigger, and that's going to eliminate any jerk or movements that could be provoked by you. So I'm sure you can hear me breathing before I shoot. That gun is on, son. Wow. It's incredible. I'm sure you can see it on that. It's right to the top right of that bullseye, man. Let me see my ballistic chart here. For our muzzle velocity. So we're gonna go ahead and take this down. Let's do 3 clicks. Try that, see what it does. Man, this gun's there. I'm pretty satisfied with that. Pretty satisfied with it. Remember, when you're shooting your rifles, if you want the most accurate shots downrange, when you've got this here, especially in your dead sled, or if you've got a bipod here attached to your gun and you're proned out, control your breathing. And I'm sure you can hear it in my videos when I shoot, but it's a real deep breath, and you want to exhale it completely. Make sure all the air is out of your lungs. And it's really nice if you can learn how to shoot between heartbeats, but that's not really for deer hunting. You don't have time to do that. But when you're just sending rounds down range, that's the most accurate way to fire your rifle and to not have a lot of pressure. So you want to basically just barely touch the pad of your hand here beside it, barely touch your trigger, and just let the gun do its thing. Because if you got a death grip on this thing, like you can see you're jerking it, and you can just see all those little minute movements in your scope. Some of them's maximized, but that is the most accurate way of shooting your guns. So I'm really glad that you guys tuned into the channel again. You know, Eastern Wild has really taken off. We've got our website up and running. We've got our podcast going. We've got all the major platforms on social media with YouTube, TikTok. I've got Facebook, and also got an Instagram account. So make sure you follow us on those platforms, and put out a lot of turkey hunting content. And now we're deep into deer season. We actually was hunting on the ground yesterday for Brandon's deer, and that's a story for another day, but we're going to upload some videos on it. But long story short, it was a perfect ambush location. We were set up in a thicket, and we just had just enough room for my camera to film and his shooting lanes with his bow. And that deer came at us like you read the script. He came out at 30 yards, and he didn't really give Brandon a shot opportunity. He was broadside, but he wasn't stopping, and Brandon said that he wanted to make a completely ethical shot on this deer, and I can't blame him. I completely agree with that. It was a tough pill to swallow in the moment, but he walked out just a little bit. He was feeding on the ground, and there was something from the direction that he came in. Our wind was perfect. It was blowing to our face. He was out in front of us, and he came in to our right, and he turned around and looked that way for just a couple seconds, and he took off. He didn't blow or anything, but something from the direction that he came spooked him. I don't know if there's a coyote back there. I don't know what happened, but it absolutely broke our hearts, and Bram was devastated. But we're going to get back down there to the lease and set up in that same thicket, and I am confident that we can make it happen. That deer has showed up for 10 days straight at 6 o'clock in the evening, and we found out we're about 40 to 50 yards from his bedroom. We found his beds, we found rubs. It was just torn all to pieces. And we're just super excited for this deer and super excited to tell the story. So y'all make sure that you stay tuned for that. And once again, God bless you guys. Thanks so much for sticking with us. And Eastern Wild is out.